Welcome, players, to the next level. Here on the Batmandrew podcast, we believe that life is an immersive experience, best lived one campaign at a time. Every week, we load up a new save file and dive deep into the most interesting worlds across video games, movies, and all things fandom, all brought from the perspective of just an everyday regular dude like me. Today's mission is locked and loaded and ready for launch, so grab your controllers and remember, your campaign starts now. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Batmandrew podcast. This is our loot drop edition where we're talking specifically about the masterclass in horror obsession. I just got done watching this movie for the first time. It just hit streaming. It's on Peacock, which we'll talk about that here in just a minute. But just got done watching it. And, listen, in the world that we live in where we're so busy and there's so much content to consume, sometimes it's almost impossible to be able to catch every movie when it drops at that moment in theaters. And this is a good example of it. I wanted to see it. I wanted to watch it. I wanted to see it opening weekend, actually, because I thought the movie looked fantastic. But I didn't have a chance to. So I waited till it came out on streaming. And I think that with these loot drop reviews, I think a lot of them are going to just be able to come out and we're going to talk about the movie when it hits streaming, because I think that's when a lot of us finally have the opportunity to be able to see it. I have a 5-year-old son. It's clearly not a movie I'm going to take him to, but it doesn't mean that I don't want to see it, right? So sometimes it's hard to make time for the things that we love, but I made time for Obsession today. And I really wanted to be able to dive in and talk about it because I thought that Inde Navarrette, and I hope that's how I'm pronouncing that right. I thought that her performance was a true mirror to relationship toxicity. And honestly, the whole premise of the movie, that was such an incredible hook for me. I'm going to dive in to two things that I love about the movie and one thing that I really hated. I could talk about this movie forever because, there was so much to be able to dive into. And so obviously this is going to be a spoiler review of Obsession, but we got to talk about it. All right. So let's go ahead and dive into the movie. This is a massive viral indie horror film. It's done over $400 million at the box office on I think I heard like a $75,000 budget or something like that. I might be wrong on those numbers, but it definitely, or $75 million budget. I believe. I don't know. Whatever. You get what I'm trying to say. It's made a lot of fucking money. And I can see why. This movie is incredible. This is arguably the best horror movie I've seen in the last 2 or 3, 4 years. And so two things that I absolutely loved about the movie and one thing I hated, diving into our main points for the movie. The number one thing I loved was Inde Navarrette's groundbreaking performance. The best way I could describe it is that it was uncomfortable. Like, I first got introduced to her in Superman and Lois, and she delivers a very great performance in Superman and Lois. I really liked the character that she played. Grace, maybe? I don't remember the name of the character, but I really liked her. I thought she did a really good job. Did not think I was going to go from seeing that to seeing this, where she just was a creepy, deeply unsettling horror embodiment character. The best way I can describe it is that her performance was uncomfortable. It was uncomfortable. I think that, what makes her so terrifying in this role is that it's somewhat relatable. It is. I think it holds up an uncomfortable mirror to real world relationships and dynamics. It's not just a supernatural monster. It's an extreme toxic version of behaviors that we've seen or felt in bad relationships. And it makes you feel genuinely uncomfortable watching this, which is exactly obviously what they wanted to be able to go for. And she absolutely nailed it. I think that this movie did a great job of turning the what could have been the normal jump scare horror movie type tropes into a very psychologically deep thinking type movie. I think that this movie isn't just like your normal cliche monkey's paw, you make a wish and it all goes bad. It really delves in deeper than that with its lore. and we'll dive into that point here in just 1 second. But it doesn't come together without her performance, and really, like, they did a really good job on casting in its entirety for this being a small little indie film. But she did a phenomenal job, and she carried this movie. It's no wonder she is getting all the love that she's getting right now, and she deserves it. Like, she did a phenomenal job playing Nikki, and I'm honestly, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens in the future with her career, what else she's going to be in. There's some talks that she is in conversations with potentially being in a Marvel movie and things like that. I've seen some content creators online talk about how that's not the choice for her career. That's not what she should do. First of all, let the girl fucking work. Like she's an actress, right? So wherever she wants to go, whatever she wants to do, I'm sure plenty of doors are going to be open to her. And let the girl work. Let her go do with her career what she wants to. And if that's in a Marvel movie, then the MCU would be lucky to have her, because she has turned out to be a fantastic actress. And I would be shocked if you don't see any love for her come Oscar season. I mean, that's how good her performance was. And to come out of like this little indie horror movie, very unexpected, very surprising, and I gotta tell you, yeah, I adored her performance. Like, she is fantastic as Nikki in this movie. But we talked a little bit about the fact that the complexity of this movie was far beyond just jump scares and cheap thrills, right? So the second thing I loved about this movie was the lore and world building behind the One Wish Willow. Like the fact that there's a company out there making these and granting you a wish and things like that. Like, yeah, again, it's kind of on the talks of the monkey paws thing. But the fact that Nikki was trapped in her own head, being forced to do these things, like, think about how deep this truly goes. And obviously this is a spoiler again, and at the end of the movie she breaks free from that, and you're left to assume that she's going to live. What about all the things she went through, all the things she saw, all the things that were done to her by Bear that were against her consent? And this motherfucker did it knowing what he was doing, right? Here's what made this movie truly scary was the scene where, it's kind of, everything's kind of escalating. Sarah texts Bear, says, "Hey, I'm coming over. I need to talk to you." Bear tries to sneak out, and then Nikki says, "Where are you going?" Like, "Please, please, like, kill me now. Kill me, please, please, please." And Bear realizes that he's talking to the true, real Nikki, and not the obsessed version of her that has been portrayed throughout the entirety of the movie. And this motherfucker says, "Well, what's so bad about loving me?" Knowing what he is doing, knowing what he has done to her against her will and consent, and then fucking just walks out the door. That is insane. Like, that is crazy to me. And honestly, that's what makes this movie truly terrifying. This is a psychological thriller horror movie, psychological horror movie at its finest. Like, in the standout, like, terrifying centerpiece of that movie being the scene where Nikki wakes up, and the realization that, like, Bear acknowledges what he's doing and still fucking does it anyways. Like, listen, as an adult male, it is hard for me to be able to understand the perspective of any female. Like, I'm a 40-year-old white man, and so I don't assume one way or the other. If someone has a certain situation that they've come through in life, and certain experiences, I can't speak to that. And so I don't judge. I listen, and I try to understand the best that I can. But at the end of the day, there are things that people go through that I will never have to face. And I think that what this does for anyone who was truly watching this movie, I think what it does is it shines a little bit of a light on that perspective of a female perspective in a relationship, in a emotionally and mentally abusive type relationship. And listen, I'm sure that was also the tones that they were going for as well. And I'm not trying to, like, find something there that isn't there. Like, it's there. It's clear. Bear says, what's wrong with loving me? And walks out. Like, I get it, man. I get it. You love her. I get it. But you're getting everything you want. And then you still step out into the car with Sarah. And I gotta tell you, if Nikki hadn't ran and just straight up, murdered Sarah, then this motherfucker would have definitely had kissed Sarah in that car. Hands down, would have definitely kissed Sarah in that car. So you get everything you want, and it's still not enough. And that's the part that I think is truly relatable for a lot of people, right? Like, when you're in relationships, it is easy to always want more and not be content and happy with what you have. And in this certain situation, he knew that Nikki, I mean, maybe he had doubts a little bit, because like before the wish, Nikki was like, "Hey, do you like me? Because this is the time to tell me." And there's always that uncertainty, especially when you're young and you're in that kind of new relationship era and area and stuff like that. But once he knew that it wasn't real, and once he knew what it was doing to her, he still did it anyways. And the beauty of this movie is that it sets up that Nikki is the, I mean, I don't really know if villain's the right word, but she's the monster of this movie, right? No, it's Bear. Bear is truly the absolute most terrible individual in this movie, without a doubt. And the movie does a good job of showing that, while still trying to show his perspective of he's like the victim, right? And you see him trying to take his own life at the end of the movie, and he can't do it with the gun, so he takes the pills, and then he starts to chicken out. But then Nikki, obviously the real Nikki, able to make that wish with the one wish Willow, and be able to snap out of it, at least momentarily, to be able to get herself out of the situation. It was good writing. Damn, it was good writing. Like, this is a fantastic movie. The director and the writer, Curry Baker, I've seen, or Barker, excuse me, I've seen several things that he's done online, like on social media and stuff, and I wouldn't have never guessed that this movie would have came from him. I wouldn't have. But listen, like, kudos to him. Just super smart, intelligent writing, great storytelling, great world building in this, and yeah, he just did a phenomenal job all the way around. I will tell you, I was a little bit shocked to see Andy Richter in there as the dad. Just because, like, since Conan, I don't really know if he's done a whole lot. So, seeing him in the movie, pop up in the movie, I mean, I like the guy. So I thought that was pretty good. But listen, I don't know if the movie was all sunshine and rainbows, right? There was one thing that really frustrated me about the movie, and it's the TikTok marketing of this movie. It's a little bit of a catch-22, and I don't know if this is necessarily the movie's fault, but I think there's a little bit of a social media tax here. Because the only downside of this movie actually had nothing to do with the film itself, but how most of us discovered this movie. But the movie, I don't think would have reached its very well deserved $400 million+ milestone without all the viral clips taking over TikTok. And some of the best parts of this movie I had already seen before on TikTok. Like, I'd already seen some of the best parts of this film before I ever watched the movie. And I don't know if that's the film's fault. I don't know if they were sending out clips. I don't know if it was just people stealing clips and then putting it out so they could get the likes and stuff like that. But there's definitely a trade-off here, and the trade-off sucks. Because by the time you actually sit down and watch the movie, the algorithm has already spoiled several of the absolute best high-impacting scenes in the movie, far before you ever got to theaters, far before it hit streaming. And it's a shame, because I think that the viewing experience definitely gets cannibalized a little bit. But it kind of, it is what it is. Like, what are you gonna do? Because I don't know if I would have ever watched this movie if I hadn't saw the clips on TikTok. So, what is there to do? You kind of have to just live with it a little bit, and because I don't know if it would have got the recognition prior to it releasing if it hadn't been for those TikTok clips. But listen, overall, did it rob my enjoyment of the movie? It didn't. There were things I wish I had known before going into it. There were things that, like, I wish I would have experienced the movie without any kind of spoilers. But again, I don't know if I would have saw the movie if I hadn't saw all those clips. So, like, what are you going to do? I think it's just, I think it's the new age of marketing. It's just going to have to be the way it is, and I don't think there's any way around that, considering how social media driven the world is today. So overall, listen, I don't give scores to movies. I don't give rankings to movies. I will just tell you, this is arguably one of the best horror movies I've seen easily in the last 4 or 5 years. I mean, just a fantastic movie. And now that it's out on Peacock, then I think you should definitely see it. But I did say at the very beginning of this review, I was going to talk about the Peacock release, okay? Peacock's smart business-wise, but also dumb business-wise, because the only way you can see this movie right now, best I can tell, is on Peacock. I mean, maybe you could buy it, buy the licensing for it, I guess I should say, with all the physical media talk, on other platforms. But if you want to be able to view the movie, it's produced by Peacock, whoever is it, Universal that does Peacock, whatever, you get it. So it's on Peacock right now. And I thought we had Peacock, but I guess we went ahead and let it ended our subscription because we don't ever really watch it. And I went on there, and you have to be a part of the premium tier if you want to be able to watch this movie. They have a couple of different tiers, and they definitely know that people were wanting to be able to see this movie and clamoring to see this movie. So I had to sign up for the premium tier of Peacock, which is only $10.99 a month. I mean, it wasn't like horrible. I would have spent more than that on one movie ticket if I had went to go see it in theaters. So am I upset about it? No, I get Peacock for the next 30 days. There might be other things on there that I may want to be able to watch. But I don't know, felt gross a little bit. Like, it wasn't just on Peacock, but you had to pay for the premium tier on Peacock. And the reason why is that, like, they're smart business wise, because they know people are going to want to see this movie, and by doing that, this is going to allow them to be able to make more money. But I think it's bad business wise because you need subscribers to your platform. Like, maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure I am. I usually am. But who the fuck is subscribed to Peacock? Like, we were for a little bit, and we were like, we never use it, so we left it, right? Who is subscribed to Peacock? And so, like, bring people in to your platform, sure. But to force them into, like, a higher tier, what they should have done, and I don't know how the tiers work, so maybe this couldn't have worked out this way, but they should have had it on an entry-level tier and allowed for commercials and advertisement, because I think you could have sold a lot of advertisement for people wanting to be able to see this movie. But it is what it is. I don't own Peacock, and I am not smart enough to make those decisions. So all I can do is go on a podcast, throw it up online, and bitch and complain about it. But listen, overall, this movie, fantastic. Go see Obsession. If you're listening to this, you've probably already seen it anyways. So if that's the case, drop it in the comments below. I want to know, how did you enjoy the movie? Did it live up to the hype and the viral hype that you have heard about it? Did you like it? What did you think of the psychological thriller aspect of it? And did you agree or disagree with any of the points that I brought up for the two things I loved and one thing I hated? Especially when it comes to the TikTok algorithm. So, like, did that experience, the fact that if you saw all those viral clips, did it impact your appreciation or viewing, experience for the movie? I want to be able to hear from you. So remember, guys, to always like and subscribe, and more importantly, share, because, well, good friends share shitty podcasts with good friends, and that's what we are. We are a shitty podcast. So if you saw Obsession with your best friend, share this shitty podcast with them so they can get in on the conversation as well. I just want to tell you thank you if you're here listening and listening to this review, because I know it's hard to make time for the things that we love. So the fact that you stuck around this long to listen, I just want to genuinely say thank you, and I appreciate you. I'll catch you guys again on the same Batmandrew time at the same Batmandrew channel. Thanks, guys.